Okay, so welcome back to my channel, Mr. Cool George, and I am a filmmaker. I like telling stories. So if you like mysterious, suspense-filled stories with a twist, then you've come to the right place, to the right channel. That's exactly what I do. I like telling stories. So without wasting any time, let's get into today's story. So today's story is actually a continuation from the story that I was narrating about the Hannibal Lecter from Australia, Katherine Knight. So we discussed in the last episode about how Katherine and John met each other and how they started living together, and because of Katherine's persistent demand for marriage, John couldn't marry her, and she wasn't very happy about it, and she decided to end it all with taking John's life. Now, so we are at a point where John was actually, Katherine stabbed him in his chest with her butcher knife. As I said, she's a butcher by trade, so she stabbed him, and then he was trying to escape by running from Katherine and outside the house, but because of the blood laws, he could only reach to the front door, and he was trying to open it, and that's how there was blood stains at the front door. Now, back in the mine where John used to work, and it's now morning, and then John is not there for work. So everybody in the mine knew that John is a guy who comes on time and does his work, and he's generally a very reliable person. So it's very unlikely of John that he's not there. So his boss said to one of the employees to go and check on him. So they decided to come to John's house, have a look. So the worker came, and they couldn't find anywhere. They were calling for John, but there was no response. They came to the back side of the house, and they could see like a plate with some meat was thrown outside. So someone has clearly thrown some food outside. They had a look, but nothing was special about it. So they then came. They decided that because they're calling, they tried everything, but there's no response. So they decided to leave. And whilst they were planning to leave, they just noticed that there's blood stains on the door, at the front door. So immediately the guy called his boss and said that, I've been calling for John, there's no response, but I saw this blood stain on the door. So now the boss decided that it's time to get the police involved. So he called the police arrived, they unlocked the door, they came inside, and they could see blood everywhere. So they knew obviously something is wrong, so they've been very careful. They went to other rooms, and they went to the room where John was sleeping with Katherine the night before, and they could see the blood everywhere. And they found this particular closet, and near that there is like a meat hook, and they couldn't believe their eyes that there is actually something that's hanging like a curtain. And upon close examining, they found that it's actually John's skin. Yeah, it's John's skin. So the night before, we stopped at the point where Katherine followed John. John was trying to escape, so he was trying to open the door, and he collapsed to the ground. So then what happened was that Katherine was still angry towards him. So she dragged him inside by dragging on his, grabbing his legs. She pulled him inside to the house, and she again climbed on top of him with that butcher knife that she used to stab him before. And with that knife, she stabbed him almost 36 times. 36 times. Until, like as if she's gone mad, almost 36 times. So by this time, John died. So there was so many, knife stabs and wounds on his body, and then she didn't. She was just getting started. She didn't stop there. Then what she did was she went into the kitchen, and then she put water, and she started boiling water in a pot. And then she dragged his body inside to their bedroom, and then she took all her tool box, and then placed all the knives and all these kind of different things that she got, and then she started to skin him. She started to take his skin off from his body, from his neck to the toe. And maybe it's due to her practice, we don't know. She actually managed to take his skin in one piece, in just one piece, and then put it in like a meat hook. That's what the police found. It was the next day near the closet. And then she didn't stop there. Then what she did next was actually made it the rarest of the rarest cases in Australian history. She actually took she actually cut his head off. Yeah, she cut his head off, and by this time, like I said, she already took his skin outside. So then she again dragged his body to the kitchen, and there, with her other tools of the trade, she was actually making him into real meat, like a butcher, into different pieces, cutting him into different pieces, different parts, all parts of his anatomy. She did it without any problem whatsoever, cut him into different pieces. And like I already said, she was boiling some water. She put some potatoes, she put some vegetables and all this kind of stuff. And then into that pot of boiling water, she actually put John's head into that. And she didn't even stop there. Then all these meat pieces that she cut methodically from his body, and she made different dishes with John's meat. And she made different pastries, different things, different steaks, all that kind of stuff. And she wasn't going to stop there either. And then she placed all these things neatly in the dining table. And she didn't stop there. And then she had nameplates or placards of each of John's kids. Yeah. So when the police arrived, they found this big, huge dinner or something that's arranged on the dining table, and they also noticed the nameplates, the placards against each dish. And Katherine also later admitted to the police that she made so much steak, like I said, she actually she took a plate and put John's meat in there, and then she started eating it, but she couldn't finish it. She couldn't eat him. So for some reason she couldn't finish it. She felt like vomiting, and then she threw that plate outside. That's what the employee from John's company saw when he was walking at the back side of the property. Because Katherine couldn't eat it, so she threw that plate outside. Anyway, so her intention was to make sure that the kids, by putting the kids' name next to the plates, she was making sure that when the kids come, she wanted them to eat their own father. That was her sinister plan. Anyway, when the police couldn't stand there in the crime site, it was obviously beyond words and gruesome and brutal. And they found in one portion of the house, Katherine was lying there and she was unconscious. And they found later that she tried to kill herself by overdosing with sleeping pills and things like that. So some people say that she wasn't doing that. She was like just taking some pills to have a good nap or sleep after all this work. Anyway, long story short, Katherine Knight was arrested, and the court, when her case was heard and the jury decided, and some members of the jury were excused because of the graphic nature of the photographs. That's part of the case. As you could imagine, it would have been horrible to look at. And the judge, when announced the verdict, made sure that there should be a stamp against her file that never to be released. Never to be released. That's stamped, and she's the only female prisoner in the history of Australia that awarded such a punishment. And she never got parole. Katherine Knight is still very much alive. She's like 67 or something, and she's in the Silverwater Correctional Facility in New South Wales, and she's still alive. I think in the year 2004 or 2006, I can't remember, somebody tried to, or her lawyers tried to get her on parole, but the judge at that time immediately rejected, stating that her file is stamped with never to be released. Yeah, so that's the end of the story. So I don't know what the moral of the story is. However, if you have some difference of opinion with your spouse or your wife, try to sort this out before sleeping, or better don't sleep at all. Yeah. Thank you very much. If you like the story, let me know in comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again. See you.